Welcome to Soul Led Lifestyle Podcast with me, Adele McCoy, and my magical guests, giving you the strategy, tools, and activation you'll need to create your soul led life. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Soul Led Lifestyle Podcast with me, Adele McCoy. And today I have an amazing soul on to join us. Her name is Janice Nash. She is a Reiki master teacher, a Reiki drum master teacher, and a spiritual mentor, helping people to navigate their healing journeys. You have got to watch this one. Pure magic. I hope you find it informative. I hope you take so much from it, and I will see you on the other side. Hey Janice, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Right, let's get stuck in. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what was life like growing up for you?
Life was pretty amazing, actually. I'm one of those really lucky ones that can tell you that we had an amazing childhood, me and my brother. Mum and dad were still together, which was quite unusual in our friendship group. We spent lots of time together as a family. Remember always being taken out at the weekends, going fishing, going to different parts of the country, different beaches, playing games and stuff at home, card games, board games. It was a pretty cool childhood, I have to say, in that respect.
Yeah. Okay,
Simple.
so then in terms of like your journey from being a child, like growing up into a teen and your early 20s and stuff, when would you say sort of you realised you had sort of healing gifts or...
So my teen years weren't as good for me. That wasn't anything to do with my family life. That was school life. I got bullied at school for a couple of years, actually, which was, looking back on it now, pretty horrific.
Yeah.
So it was when I was being bullied that I discovered the power of journaling.
Okay.
I would just pour everything out into the pages of my journal. And I used to keep one of those diaries that was like, "Dear diary, today I went to the shops and I bought this." And then
Yeah.
it changed into really exploring how I felt and how lonely I was and how scared I was that I was going to get beaten up when I went to school the next day. And it kind of really helped me to organize my thoughts and get through, the horrific time that I was having at school. And once the bullying resolved itself, that journaling habit stayed with me, and I still journal every day now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's powerful,
Yeah.
absolutely powerful.
So when would you say was the moment, like the pivoting moment when you started to explore more deeper into all of this side of things?
Um, I would say probably in my early 40s. So I kind of have, like I say, I've journaled my whole life. Um, but never really went any deeper than that. And then my dad had a stroke, must have been, gosh, about 12 years ago now. And then he kind of went into lots of different health issues, and he wasn't himself anymore. And I found that really difficult to cope with, being daddy's little princess. And that's when I discovered meditation. So I kind of just put into Google things to help me relax, because I just wasn't relaxed all the time. I was anxious, and like meditation kept coming up in this Google search. So I was like, all right, okay, let's kind of explore this, and just started off on YouTube, really, doing some guided meditations, and they just really worked. Helped me to let go of all the stresses of the day, helped me just to quieten my mind, really, and then focus on myself. And I found that it just really helped me. So I kind of built a practice around that. So I then was obviously journaling more deeply around my thoughts and feelings and emotions around my dad being not well, and then added the meditation into it. And that it just really helped. It made such a difference in my life, and it kind of then progressed into a bigger and better practice for myself. And then when my dad was really, really poorly under palliative care and we knew that the end was coming, I was kind of, that wasn't enough for me anymore. The journaling and the meditation it just wasn't kind of helping me as much as it used to. And that's when I discovered the pure bliss of Reiki. I went for a Reiki session, and for that hour, I was just peaceful. I had a massive energetic release during my first session, and just I felt so much better and just more able to cope with life at that point. And I think that was the real kind of turning point for me, where I was like, oh, I need this in my life in a deeper way than just going for a session.
Yeah. So did you know about Reiki before you went? Was it something that someone suggested that you should do, or was it something that you'd looked into?
So I used to, I was a nursery manager for many years, and one of the nurseries that I used to run, we had this wonderful lady called Magda working there. She was our housekeeper, and she was very spiritual, and she would always come in and leave a crystal on my desk before I was going off to a meeting, and I'd be like, Magda, I don't believe in this. Take your rock. And she would, she'd come in and she'd just be like, oh, I'm just going to send you some Reiki vibes. And I'd be like, rolling my eyes, whatever. So she kind of introduced me to it, but I just was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So it must have stuck with me. It must, and I've stayed in touch with Magda and lots of people from that nursery. Like 13 years on, we're all still in contact. And actually, it was Magda that I contacted, and Magda is the one that has trained me. I've done all my Reiki training with her, and she was kind of like,
tingly.
told you you'd believe in it one day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She knew. She could see. She could see. Yeah.
The universe knows.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then when did you train? So how long ago?
So I've just been trained for 2 years now. So we were kind of going into lockdowns. So I managed to do my training, my Reiki 1 training, before we went into full lockdowns, which was perfect because it meant that I could do self Reiki. So yeah, that was amazing. It kind of just opened my mind to all the possibilities. There is so much that we don't understand about the universe. And this Reiki training just opened something within me, and I was like, oh, I don't know anything. I need to know more. And I kind of just then spent a lot of lockdown buying books and researching and just being a sponge, really, and just soaking up as much information as I possibly can. And I know so much more now than I did back then, but I still don't know enough.
Oh no, there's things I don't even know, which is why I'm doing this podcast, so that I can just bring all the different people on to tell everyone about it, But what I've realized by listening to you, actually, Janice, is that you seem to pick up these things very easily. Like you're saying, from a young child, when you was going through your trauma, you picked up a journal and you stayed journaling. You still journal now from that time, and that's a discipline right there. And it's not easy to journal. It's very easy to say, oh, okay, I'll write today's one tomorrow, or and it just never happens. So to think that you had that discipline, I know you was going through stuff at the time and you needed that, but then you carried on after school and into your adulthood to journal, and that is pretty amazing. And then the fact that you had your Reiki session, it opened up so much for you that you decided to train in Reiki yourself. And again, you've picked it up like that. You took that time in lockdown to really submerge yourself into that world. And actually, the timing was great for it. That's what you needed at that time. Yeah. When things come that easy to people, that's what they were born to do,
Yeah, I've said that. I feel that now this is it. I am living my soul's purpose. This is what I was here to do. I'm 49 in a couple of weeks. It's taken me ever such a long time to arrive at where I needed to be in life, but I needed to take the path I took to lead me here. But yeah, I just totally trust that the universe knows best. So
Yes.
I put all my trust in the universe now. And I look back on all the, the past traumas. I've had a couple of events in my life where while I've been going through them, I'm like, this is actually the end of the world. I can't believe this has happened. And why is it happening to me? And I look back on it now and I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful that happened, because if it hadn't, I wouldn't have made that choice and taken that path. So I can look back and be grateful for
Yeah.
all the life experiences now. And I think that's one of the main differences now, is when something happens that's not quite in my plan, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's just the universe's plan for me. So I must be learning a lesson. I must need to know something. And the way I learn is through experience. So this is what I've got to go through.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. So then you trained in Reiki, and then, like you said, there was more to discover. And I know that you do a bit of drumming, don't you?
I do. So I found myself a community,
Okay.
which is, oh gosh, it's amazing. That changed my life as
What,
well.
a like in-person community, or was it online?
So it started off online. I put a little thing out on Facebook in one of my little groups saying, "Oh, I really want to do a Reiki share. Is anybody in the area wanting to get together and do this?" And there was a lady popped up and said, "Oh, I do an online Reiki share. You're welcome to join." So I joined that. And then one of the ladies that was in that group said, "Oh, I'm doing an online meditation with somebody else." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good." So I went and joined that. And I'm now doing in-person meetings and courses and workshops with this lady who is absolutely wonderful. Her name's Melanie Pittman, just amazing woman.
Yeah.
So during one of my very first in-person days with her, we had a meditation day. She took us on a Reiki drum journey, and I'm like, oh, what's this? Never heard of this. And it just, oh, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The beat of the drum guides you on this
Yeah.
journey. And she gave us some verbal kind of cues as well, but they were very brief. You just allowed the beat of the drum to take you, and it was such a profound experience. She was Afterwards, she was like, "Does anybody have any questions?" And I'm like, "Yes, how do I learn how to do the drum?" She was like, "Well, I've got a course." So yeah, I booked on and just absolutely loved it. From the moment I picked my drum up, it felt like I'd always had it.
Yeah.
So that was last year that I did my Reiki drum practitioners, and this year I did my Reiki drum master teacher. So I can now start to teach that.
Oh, that's amazing. I might be coming to you for that, because I've had this thing with I don't know what drum you use, but I have this thing. I bought it last year. You know, the big round flat one.
Yes.
That's the one that I bought, and I've been looking at it, not picked it up. I'm like, why did I buy you? I bought you for a reason. And so I know I need there's some sort of drumming stuff coming in for me.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so
Sounds
yeah,
like.
just need to find the right person, and it sounds like you may be her. So that's beautiful. So you do those classes, do you? You do the classes or a course?
Yeah, so you have to be at least Reiki 2 trained
Okay.
to do the Reiki drum, because you're expected to know the symbols,
Mm-hmm.
and to be a Reiki practitioner. So your drum chooses you, which is just beautiful. They were all in a circle, and you go round, and you're just literally drawn to the
Yeah.
drum and then you are attuned together. So I was holding my drum, and we went through an attunement process. So the drum is attuned to Reiki, and that was done with me. And I'm Holy Fire Reiki trained. So when I got my drum home, I then initiated my drum with with Holy Fire Reiki.
Yeah.
So that was quite magical, actually. Just a really beautiful ceremony, just me and my drum. So when you beat the drum, you have the deep healing vibrations of the drum, but you also have the Reiki being beaten through the drum. So when you're having a healing session and the drum's being beaten over your body, I mean, it's not really heavy beats, it's a nice gentle
Yeah.
beat.
Yeah.
It's not rock and roll. It's a nice gentle beat. It's just beating that healing directly into the person, and it's beautiful. You can the drum tells you, you can hear when you're beating the drum, it can sound quite flat. and you know that you need to stay in that area to release that energy that needs to be released. And then you can hear within the drum when it's been released, because it sounds like it should sound, and then you just move on to the next area.
Oh, that's magical. It really
It
is.
really absolutely is. And there are different kind of sessions that you can have. So you can have it's like a positive programming session. So you would agree with the person that you're doing it with the affirmation that they want to use. So one of the affirmations that I've used for myself is I am enough. Just really that simple. And then you have someone then, so they're beating the drum and you just repeat in your head over and over, I am enough, I am enough. And the person then doing the drumming will say that to you while they're doing it as well. You are enough. You are enough. And it's just beating that in, and the repetition of the beats of the drum just really drums that positive affirmation into you and kind of dispels that negativity around that affirmation that you're saying. It's beautiful.
And so if I was to come to you for a session, how long does the sessions last?
That's entirely your choice. We could do a half an hour session or an hour session. You wouldn't drum for a whole hour. That would be far too much for you. So a Reiki drum healing session is part traditional hands-on Reiki and part drumming. So it just depends on how much time you wanted to spend in your session. Some people have a half an hour session just to see how they get on and then go on to book an hour session.
Okay, so is that in the training of the drum, or is that in the actual, like, being the client?
That's just being the actual client.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so now you've got your Reiki and your Reiki drumming. Which would you say is most popular at the moment that people
most book? Popular at the moment is the Reiki, but I believe that's because I've been running a special offer.
Okay.
So I was just like, everyone needs Reiki in their life. So I did a special 30-minute taster session because I can explain to you what a Reiki session is, and I can explain some of the things you might feel, but you just cannot possibly understand what it feels like to have a Reiki session until you've had a Reiki
one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
So I've been running a special offer, which has been crazy. Lots and lots of people booking in for that, and then literally at the end of their taster session booking in for a full session, which has been lovely. Just to bring Reiki to so many people it's my passion. So I'm thrilled with that. So I think possibly in a month or two I will do the same with the Reiki drum, and because people don't know about it.
Well, that's it. That's what I was thinking.
It's
as soon as it's out there and people talking about how amazing it is, everyone will want to book,
Absolutely. I mean, my lineage is just unreal. So for Reiki drum, the person that developed the Reiki drumming technique is called Micheal, and he kind of just launched it in like 1999. It's so early. Wow. He then trained somebody called Sarah Gregg, who brought Reiki drum to this country. Melanie Pittman went to her session and trained, and then I trained with Melanie Pittman. So there's literally 3 people in my lineage, which that's special. That's really
it is.
So we just need that ripple effect. The more people that we train, the more people that we have sessions with, the more people will know, the more it becomes popular, and then we'll get that out there.
And is this something that people can have a session with you online as well, or is it just in person?
You can have an online session. It's not quite as powerful because you can't feel the vibrations as much. But I have done distance Reiki sessions where I've drummed within that session. And I don't do my distance sessions via Zoom or anything. We just have an agreed time. So there's kind of, they're not even hearing the beat of the drum. But I've used the drum during the session because that's what I've been drawn to do. And my client has said, whoa, what did you do halfway through? I felt something really kind of quite powerful. And I was like, well, yeah, that's the drum. Yeah. So you can do it distance, you can do it online. I think my preference to receive any kind of drum healing is very much in person.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any cool stories to share around clients that have come to you for a session and it's completely transformed their world?
So yes, I do actually. So you can go on a Reiki drum journey on your client's behalf.
Okay.
So I had a Reiki client. So we did the normal hands-on Reiki, and then I said to her what we would do right at the end is we would go on a journey, and I would journey on her behalf. And she was all over that because she finds it very difficult to visualize and then trust that it's her intuition and it's real what she's seeing, and not just, you know, her thinking, oh, I must see something and making stuff up. So she was really, really keen for that. So we did the Reiki session. And then I started to journey on her behalf. So I'm beating the drum. I sat next to her. And you set the intention that you're going to, you cross a bridge and you come into a clearing. And I just welcomed in whoever had a message for my client. And He-Man arrived. So your younger listeners possibly won't even know.
Yeah.
But He-Man arrived, and he was He-Man. He wasn't Adam. Yeah. He was definitely He-Man. He didn't have Battle Cat with him, no. It was just him. And I was a bit like, hi, He-Man, how are you? And he just kind of stood there. And I was like, are you here for my client? And again, he just stood there. And I was like, oh, okay, do you have a message for my client? And at that point, he took his sword out of the back of him, held it up in the air. He did his whole, I have the power. And he slammed the sword down into the ground. As he slammed the sword down into the ground, wings popped up around the side of him, and that's when I realized actually it was Archangel Michael.
Wow.
Big massive blue light all around him, like still He-Man with wings. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
He skipped a couple of beats while I was doing this because I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like, oh, Archangel Michael, do you have a message for my client? And he waved the sword around. And I was like, okay, she needs to cut the cords. Do we need to use your sword of truth, your sword of light to cut the cords? And he kind of just waved the sword and then put it back down in the ground. And I was like, oh, right, okay, thanks. That's lovely. Thank you so much for coming and showing up for my client today. So I then journeyed back, said thank you, gave my gratitude, came back over the bridge, and then told my client, and she was a bit like, oh, that is so cool. And we then did a cord cutting ceremony where I invited Archangel Michael to join us because I'm a certified angel guide as well. I've done Kyle Gray's training. So I was able to do that with her, and we invited Archangel Michael in, and we visualized him using the sword all around her, cutting all the cords. And she said afterwards she just felt lighter, so much lighter. She kind of floated out that day. So yeah, that was that's one of my favorite ever Reiki drum experiences.
Oh, it sounds magical. I wonder who would come for me. Okay, so if you had to tell someone like 5 things in terms of like they're interested in healing, but they don't know what type of healing they're into, what type of healing they want. They've just heard that spiritual healing is good for you. And as we know, there's many different forms of that. What would you advise someone, like 3 things you would advise them to know exactly what type of healing that they might need? What is more?
So I would first ask if they know what it is that they're trying to heal. Some people have a really clear idea of what it is they want to work through, whether it's a trauma or just an event or just something they know. So for me, my healing over the past couple of years was very much healing around my dad's death. But before that, it was all about healing my limiting beliefs that had come about because of the bullying. And I was quite aware that that's what I needed to heal. Other people just feel a bit lost and don't know what they want to heal. So you need to kind of find out if they've got kind of an agenda with that, because sometimes what you think you need to heal isn't what you need to heal at all. So I like people to come with an open mind, and not to come, it's good to have an intention. I would like to, work on this area of my life, but you can't have it in your head that I'm going to come for a Reiki session and everything will be healed. So we would then discuss the types of things that they've tried already, or things that they might have an interest in. Do they meditate? Do they want to try the Reiki? Do they want to have the drum coming in? And I just explain the benefits of all of them. Some of it can be quite intense. So if someone's quite new to this whole kind of world and healing, I would take them off in kind of smaller sessions that aren't quite so intense, and then they can build up. Because often when you come for your first kind of sessions of healing, the floodgates open, and then you can just be overwhelmed, and that's difficult to manage. So I kind of, you know, say to my clients, come for the Reiki session, see what comes up for you within that Reiki session, and then book in for some kind of, you know, another session in a couple of weeks. The Reiki can then help you to deal with whatever came up in that last session, release something new, and then we can move on in that way. So every couple of weeks, come for a session, and then once you're kind of over that main release and you're working through this, come for like a maintenance session once a month. Within that time, I would very much encourage lots of journaling and lots of meditation, and then just finding what resonates with them. Some people like crystals. I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, I've got crystals everywhere. I'm always like, oh, there's a crystal for that. And just, you know.
How funny is that from when Magda used to give you her little rock on your table?
I know, right? I've come full circle. Whenever I go to see her, I buy so many crystals from her. She's so smug. Like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, it just, whatever resonates with people is what is right for them. I may feel that my client would really benefit from, you know, a Reiki session followed by a guided meditation, and possibly come for a massage as well with me to help them relax. They might feel that they need something completely different. So I do go with what my client wants and just try to guide them as best I can, but just making sure that they're in control, because I think that's really important when you're on a healing journey. Things can be thrown at you all the time, and you need to have that element of control within that.
Yeah, definitely. So where do you see yourself in sort of 5 years time in terms of your business? And
so I have a plan.
Yes.
I have a real plan. My one-to-one work will be scaled down. So I believe that I would have, you know, kind of just set times, a couple of days in the month where I would do my one-to-one work. But I feel my passion lies in group work, delivering workshops, courses, and just getting that out there, really. So I've kind of made a start. I'm doing a workshop this evening, actually.
Oh, nice.
Exciting. So I'm doing a connection to the angels workshop. And it's my first big workshop that I've run. I'm doing it online, and I have 6 people booked on. So I am super, super chuffed with that. I'm going to be looking at doing in-person workshops as well. So I've done my first one a couple of weeks ago, which was magical. I did the 13th Rite of the Womb, which is part of the Moon Reiki.
Yeah.
Oh, it was magical. So just getting those up and running, and then launching my Reiki courses. So teaching people how to become Reiki practitioners, teaching people how to do Reiki drum. At the end of this year, I'll be doing the rest of my Moon Reiki rites, and then I'll be developing my own course where I'll be able to share that with people as well. But I definitely see me doing it kind of in a group setting, rather than on one-to-one, and then I can reach more people, share the light, share the love, and then hopefully that ripple effect, they can go and start sharing as well. Yeah.
That sounds magical. Okay, so I'm just looking at my questions. Okay, so as you know, grounding and protection is very important. It's like spiritual hygiene, as I call it.
Yes.
And what I find is, especially people that are just starting out on their spiritual journey, they don't always know what to do, or they might not be consistent, or, you know, they can't find the right thing that's right for them. So what I've been doing is I've been asking all my guests how they ground and protect, because I'm trying to give people inspiration, if you like, as to, you know, there isn't kind of a wrong or a right way. Everyone has their own way. You yeah, so how do you ground and protect?
Different ways on different days, I have to say.
Okay.
So my favorite go-to is sage. Love a bit of sage. So I just, light the sage, and then I take it all around my body while kind of, I often say it out loud actually. My family have got so used to me just talking to myself in a different room.
Yeah.
Just saying, like, I'm just cleansing my space, cleansing my aura, taking away any negativity, lower vibrations. So that's a nice quick one to do. But I invite the angels in to help me. So I invite Archangel Michael in to cut the cords of anything that's binding me to any kind of situation that's lowering my vibration. And then I ask him to surround me with his wings and his cloak of light so that I can stay protected throughout the day. I use selenite to go through my auric field sometimes, and I also use sound. So I've got a shamanic rattle that I take through my auric field, or I will drum. There are so many ways. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just hold a piece of Smokey Quartz and just imagine my roots growing out of my feet down, that I'm connected to Mother Earth, and thank you for your grounding and protection today. Like, there are so many ways.
So many, yeah.
It just, on different days I use different techniques, but I always start my day off like that. Always ground and protect myself first thing in the morning, and then throughout the day, if something's happened and I'm feeling a bit frazzled, then I'll do like a cleansing ritual and then re-protect myself. Don't wait until you feel frazzled to do that. Protect yourself in the morning.
Exactly. Very important.
And then you just build on that. Absolutely. Yeah, different ways on different days, I think.
And it's funny actually where you mention Archangel Michael. So my mum's really big into the angels, and for years she would say to me about Archangel Michael, and she'd tell me stories that, she's read about him, where he's come to protect people, like, on the motorway and stuff like this. And I was taking it in, but angels wasn't really my thing at the time. But since becoming more spiritual and more into everything spiritual, obviously I call upon Archangel Michael. And it's so funny because I call upon Archangel Michael because I hate the motorway. I don't know what it is, but I hate driving on the motorway. I hate being in a car on the motorway. Not because I think the person driving is reckless, but anyone on the motorway, one little slip and that's it. And I will always say, please protect us on this drive. And I just feel the wings cover the whole car. And it's so strange as well. It's like, as soon as you say Michael, it's like he's there. Say Michael with him in mind. It's like you feel him, you feel his wings. And when I've said this to people that don't really know much about angels, they kind of go, oh, right, okay. But it's so true. I ask, I've got a teenage son, like, please protect Tristan when he leaves the house. Mum, I'm going out. I'm like, Archangel Michael, please protect him. All of this type of thing. And there was one day actually that I forgot to protect Tristan. I was busy cooking in the kitchen, and he was like, Mum, I'm going out with my cousin. He went out, and there was like a mini car accident. They were all fine, but there was a mini car accident. And he came home and he was like, Mum, do you know what happened? And he told me. And I said, you know what? I actually didn't call for protection. That was the one time, but it's so weird that I always do. I do it with all my children. I do it on any journey. I call Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you talk about Archangel Michael, I totally get it because I just feel his protection.
He makes you feel safe, doesn't he?
He does.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's like you feel like someone's running feathers over you. As soon as you call him in, it's like you feel the feathers. You just feel. Yeah. I can't explain it, but I know the feeling when I feel it.
You feel like the wings are wrapped around you, and anything that's coming your way is just going to bounce off those wings.
Exactly.
Yeah. And anything that kind of gets through those wings a little bit, you were meant to deal with, and Michael's there to help you do it anyway, so it's all good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crystals, what is your favourite crystal and why?
My favourite crystal at the moment is Angel Aura Quartz.
Oh, beautiful.
So I've never really been drawn to aura crystals at all, but I've been trying to work with the fairy realm a little bit. Going off on a tangent now. We've talked about angels, now we're going to go to fairies. And I've just been really drawn to to aura crystals because they're quite shiny, they're quite sparkly, and the Fey realm really like anything kind of shiny. So I've been using those in lots of meditations, and I've got one in particular. I just get lost in it. It's like got a whole galaxy inside it. It's just,
wow.
and it just, yeah, it really helps me with my connection to the angelic realm and to the Fey realm as well. So yeah, that's my favourite one at the moment. But my favourite of all time, Smokey Quartz.
Oh yeah.
That's like, yeah, you've got to have some Smokey Quartz. It's grounding, it's protecting. It's Archangel Michael in a crystal.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's my favourite.
Okay. So I know you briefly touched upon what things you've got coming up, but would you like to just tell the listeners again about any offers or courses that you've got coming up and how to find you? Also, I will put all the details underneath the podcast post. But yeah, just let people know anyway.
So yeah, so we're called Mind How You Go, and that's you just with a U, not Y-O-U. And the reason why the business is called that is because my dad never said goodbye. Whenever we left the house, mind how you go, text me when you get home. Yeah. So I named the business to honour him. So that's why it's called that. So yeah, I've got a website called that. You can find me on Facebook. I have a private Facebook group called Aligned, Balanced and Calm, where I share tips on self-care really. I share meditations and I go in there and do the cards, take people on drum journeys, that kind of thing. I'm also on Instagram, so you can come and follow me on there. And then, yeah, so special offers at the minute is the half-hour Reiki taster session, where you can come and do that at discounted price, just so that you can have an experience of what Reiki's like. And then, yeah, just in the next couple of months, I'll be having different workshops. This evening is the Connecting to Angels workshop, which will run possibly every other month for people wanting to find out who the angels are and how to work with them. And then I'll be doing a series of workshops on the archangels and how to work with them, how to do different rituals. So, yeah, lots coming up. And then by the end of the year, Reiki 1 will be launched. There, I've said it. Now I can get that manual done.
Now you have to. Everyone needs it now. Oh, Janice, it's been absolutely amazing. I love your story. I just love how you just got all this magic and you do so much and you're really kind of humble with it all and just a normal person. Because there's this whole like thing that spiritual people are like just... I was talking about this on one of my podcasts. It's like everything is love and light and perfect and we have no hang-ups. Everything is like, you know, positive and whatever. And that we must look a certain way and we don't do certain things and all of this. But we are just normal people coming from normal backgrounds, gone through normal things, and just capturing that essence of ourselves, you know. And as you can see, Janice is living her soul-led life. She's living the life that she was here to do. And you guys can all do that too. So, yeah, thank you so much, Janice, for coming on.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Anyway, guys, take care and we will speak soon.